My surname is Rosen. My first name is Phina, but I'm known as Phina. Phina is just too long. I was born in Romania in 1918, the end of the First World War. My father had been in the forces, and he came home to Romania, and after 2 years, about that I was born. They tried to get back from Romania to Africa, but for 2 years it took them to do it. Everybody wanted to get out of Romania, away from all the problems and the war, and at last we got through, and with the help of Charlie Solomon, I don't know if anybody remembered him.
Yes,
He's a very well-known person in Bulawayo, and he eventually got us out of Romania, and we came to Africa. And we first were in Bulawayo, and then we settled in Lusaka, which was just before it was the capital of northern Rhodesia. Does anybody know where Lusaka is? And we had a very good life in Lusaka. It was just a wonderful place. And there's no such thing as anti-Semitism. Everybody was one happy family. And then I came to boarding school in Bulawayo, because there was no high school in Lusaka. And when I was at boarding school, I met Max Rosen. He wasn't at boarding school, he was long past boarding school. But anyway, we met, and that was the beginning of a great romance. And after I left school, a couple of years afterwards, we married. And we had 3 daughters. We have 3 daughters. And I've got 17 grandchildren. Unfortunately, I lost one in the army. And I've done a fair amount of communal work in Bulawayo, and tried hard to Bulawayo. Max was a Freemason, very, very keen Freemason. I don't know if any of them may have.
I do.
Yeah. Max and Joe. And that was our life. I did wheatsoe work, and he was a mason, and we had a very good life in Bulawayo. And then the time came, and we thought, I had 3 daughters, and they were all in Israel. So my husband said, things weren't so good in Zimbabwe, let's go back now. Anyway, we came to Israel. We were living in Atanya, and he was an insurance agent. He did a bit of work, and somebody approached me to do a job. I said, okay. But the first day, when I finished work, he said, why don't you pick up all the rubbish from the floor? I said, oh, really, is that what I must do when I work for you? Anyway, I didn't work again. He did a bit of work. And what else? My 3 daughters, they all live in Israel. I've got 17 grandchildren, and I've got a few great-grandchildren now. And I can't say we've been hilariously happy here, but we're reasonably happy. Max sort of missed his office in Bulawayo. He was at the Prudential, and everybody was always around him and asking him. Anyway, we came to Israel, and we made it. Unfortunately, he passed away a few years ago, but I can't say he was very happy. We played a lot of bowls, and we played cards and bridge and one thing and another, and life went on. But we will always miss Bulawayo.
Tell us a bit about the life in Bulawayo. What was it like for you? Community work? You said you were involved in the community. Just tell us a bit about what organisation were you involved in?
Say it again.
What organisation were you involved in the community?
Well, there was he was a Freemason. I was with Wheatsoe Union of Women, 3, someone else as well. And I was always busy in Bulawayo. I was on every committee, always running around. My poor children, and I played golf and I played tennis. And my children were very neglected. and life in Bulawayo was just something. Never forget.
Give us a sense of that.
A sense of that. First of all, Max was an Englishman, came from England. And he liked the atmosphere of Bulawayo with all he always played bowls with all the yaks. He was very much at home with everybody. And I was too. And we did a bit of I did quite a lot of Weta work, and he was, as I said, a Freemason. And my daughter Isabel, who'd been left in Bulawayo with us, the other two had been in Israel many years, decided to pack up and come. Unfortunately, she had a very sad time here, but anyway. And my husband, Max, said to me one day, look, what are we living in Rhodesia for? Let's also go to Israel. But neither of us were particularly happy, but we made it. A few years ago, he passed away suddenly. And I'm here. My daughters are very good to me, and I don't know if you know it, Gary Myers was my grandson who died. You probably know. He was killed in the army. It's been hard for her, but we all made it. And now we're here. But I miss Bulawayo. Yeah, when I said we left Romania, things were so bad there after the war. And we came to Bulawayo, to Livingston first. We lived in Livingston. And then we came to Bulawayo through Charlie Solomon. Do you know anything about the Solomons? No. Very influential people. We came to Bulawayo. And Max was an insurance agent, so he had no trouble finding work here. And I applied for a job, because I'm a bookkeeper. And when I got to the job, he said to me, something about, don't forget to pick up all the rubbish off the floor when you go. I said, thank you, you might keep your job. But that's just a little bit of humour. But we lived in Netanya, and we had a very nice life there. Nice. We played bowls, and he was a great bowler, so was I. And we had lots of friends who played bridge, and it was really a retired life. But we missed Rhodesia. That's all.